November 1923. A German worker earns his monthly salary, 4 trillion marks. A single loaf of bread costs 200 billion. His entire month of work buys 20 loaves. 3 countries, 3 different time periods, but the exact same 5-stage pattern destroyed each of their currencies. And today, the United States has already completed stage 2 and is moving towards stage 3. Hyperinflation is not random. It follows a predictable sequence. Once a country reaches stage 4, collapse becomes unstoppable. So let's break down the 5-stage pattern. Stage 1. The original sin. Excessive money creation. The government spends far more than it collects and prints money to fill the gap. In Weimar Germany, World War I drained the economy. Germany printed money to pay debts and reparations. By 1921, the mark was already falling apart. In Zimbabwe, farm seizures collapsed food production and tax revenue. The government printed money to stay alive politically. In Venezuela, oil prices crashed. The government refused to cut spending and printed bolivars while keeping a fake exchange rate. Stage 1 can last for years, even decades. People still trust the currency until they don't. Stage 2. Accelerating inflation. Inflation rises fast. Public psychology shifts. People begin buying earlier because prices keep rising. This accelerates inflation even more. Germany's exchange rate collapsed from 64 marks per dollar to 7,000 marks in just 2 years. Zimbabwe went from triple-digit inflation to thousands of percent. Shops emptied within hours. Price controls made everything worse. Venezuela saw feud riots, business failures, and mass migration as inflation exploded. Stage 2 is the last chance to fix the situation, but doing so requires massive spending cuts, politically suicidal, so almost no country takes this path. Stage 3. The acceleration. Prices double monthly. Hyperinflation begins. Prices double every few weeks or even days. In Germany, $1 rose from 18,000 marks to 4.2 trillion marks in 1 year. Workers were paid twice a day. Savings worth a lifetime became worthless overnight. Zimbabwe printed a $100 trillion note that became worthless within weeks. Venezuela hit over 1,000,000% inflation. The government removed zeros from the currency, but kept printing. It changed nothing. Stage 4. Currency death. The currency stops functioning. People abandon it. They use foreign money or return to barter. Germany replaced the mark with the Rentenmark. Zimbabwe abandoned its currency entirely and switched to US dollars. Venezuela has not officially abandoned the bolivar, but most transactions now happen in dollars. At this stage, trust is broken permanently. Stage 5. The aftermath. Wealth transfer. Hyperinflation doesn't destroy wealth. It transfers it. Winners include people with fixed-rate debt, people with real assets, and people holding foreign currency. Losers include savers, pensioners, wage earners, and the entire middle class. The social damage lasts for generations. Germany's middle class collapse fueled the extremist politics of the 1930s. Zimbabwe lost millions of citizens to emigration. Venezuela suffered one of the largest refugee crises in South American history. Where is the United States now? Stage 1, completed. Federal debt near record highs, exploding deficits, and massive money creation. Stage 2, active. Inflation peaked at 9.1%, and cumulative inflation since 2020 is over 20%. Foreign governments are reducing U.S. Treasury holdings and buying gold. The dollar's share of global reserves keeps declining. Public psychology is shifting. People are buying assets, taking fixed-rate debt, and looking for alternatives to the dollar. Stage 3 has not arrived, but the conditions for late stage 2 are already here. United States has advantages: reserve currency status, strong institutions, and a productive economy. But these only delay consequences. They don't eliminate them. When you have more rope, you simply fall from a higher place. A confidence shock can trigger stage 3 quickly. How people historically protected wealth. Throughout every hyperinflation event, a few strategies consistently worked. 1. Owning real assets like gold, silver, real estate, and productive businesses. 2. Holding strong foreign currencies when possible. 3. Taking fixed-rate debt that inflation eventually destroys. 4. Diversifying internationally instead of keeping everything in one currency. And 5. Developing essential skills that retain economic value no matter what happens to the currency. Protection always happens in stage 2. When hyperinflation becomes obvious, it's already too late. Conclusion. Hyperinflation follows a 5-stage pattern: excessive money creation, accelerating inflation, hyperinflation, currency death, and aftermath. The United States is firmly in stage 2. This does not guarantee hyperinflation, but the conditions that preceded every historical case are already present. Something must change, whether through policy, currency adjustment, or a crisis. Position yourself early. History favors those who prepare while everything still appears normal. If you want the story of the worst hyperinflation ever recorded, Hungary 1946, let me know. Prices doubled every 15 hours. Subscribe for more economic history that explains the world today.